Well, friend, I found this to be very, very interesting. So I do want to do a reading on this to see exactly what Spirit says about this. But let me give you the rundown real quick. Okay, so in Beijing, right at the World Robot Conference Center, they've designed a robot that will actually hold a fetus. Okay, it's supposed to be, the fetus can be in there from anywhere from 9 to 10 months. Okay, it's still going to get nutrients through a hose that goes through the nose. Just like a connection. So there's a prototype expected by 2026 with a projected cost under 14,000 US dollars. To me, that is pretty cheap for this type of it's pretty cheap, friend, for this level of scientificness. Okay, authorities in the province have already begun discussions around ethics and legal frameworks to guide the development. I think that is so scary because my thing is this: I feel like there's just so much that a baby gets from physically walking around with the mother. Like, women have such a very important role here. I feel like it's going to be a new generation of people that are born this particular way. Okay, but before I get into my feelings about it, let's just see exactly what Spirit is saying about it. Okay, some people are saying that replacing the womb means challenging the sacred bond between mother and child. Some critics already argue that no machine can replicate the emotional, hormonal, and spiritual elements of pregnancy, which is the soul space in this world. Let's see exactly what the questions are. What is humanity doing when it takes the womb out of a woman and puts it in a robot? The Lenadro energy shows up. This is literally talking about losing valuable time. This is a hourglass with wings on it. Okay, I don't think it's actually going to be successful. I feel like the death rate of it is going to be more than not. Okay. I feel like the child could possibly have to grow up to have like certain medications and things like that. I feel like the health risks are not necessarily even the risk, friend. This just talks about the development. So the children who are born this way or conceive or created this way are going to have a lot more health risks. Okay, I feel like it's going to be like a new strain of diseases that's associated with these particular children that are born this way by robot. I think that science is not necessarily ready for the health risks, because once these kids grow up to become adults, they could have mental issues, health issues, things like that. So that's significant. Okay, it makes sense because people are used to our human body. Our human body comes from our mother. You know what I'm saying? It might be a whole different ball game when you take a human body that's came from a robot. What type of diseases and what type of ailments will that person have? That's pretty deep. Okay. My question is, how will this affect the baby's spiritual ability? Because when we're in our mother's womb, we spend a lot of time with our ancestors and things of that nature. How will the actual womb be affected and the baby be affected? Another hourglass. Okay, so the smoke tongue energy shows up here. You also have the flux energy that shows up here. This is actually talking about unable to connect with spirit. Okay, so a lot of anger because of this. And I feel like sometimes when we connect with spirit, I got a vague bitch. I feel like when we connect with spirit, we have like a feeling or an emotion, like we know that spirit or we know that God is real. Okay, they're going to have a complex to where they feel like God is not real, and I feel like you get a lot more angry people. I think that they'll be able to connect with spirit. Okay, but that feeling or that exaggerated anger is going to be something. Okay, that's pretty deep, friend. It's almost like, how sometimes we say, well, God can't hear us, or we feel like God don't hear us. They have that same type of feeling, except it's extremely exaggerated. It becomes anger, it becomes lashing out. And if they have knowledge of them being cared for in a robotic womb, they might actually feel like God did not create them. And then you have a bunch of people who don't necessarily have a spiritual foundation running around in the world. Okay. I have another question. Is there a hidden agenda that they have with these particular children that are going to be born this way? The obey energy shows up. I think that they want to control these particular children, and I think that it will lead to that. I think that you're designing a different type of spirit that you can manipulate. The Jordan card shows up. I think that they want to design an emotionless army. This is scary. You know what I'm saying? Like, even for me to read, friend, this is scary. Like, I don't know if you feel like this heaviness, but this is scary. Okay. If a machine carries life, where does a human connection start and the machine end? That's a very good question. I feel like they'll be educated on the machine that carried their life. I think it's going to be very, very militant. The Union card shows up in the reversal position. I feel like these children that are born this way will have an extreme disconnect when it comes to reality. Okay, it puts me in the mind of like a psychotic person. Someone, and it's such a real thing that can happen, friend. Okay, if you were born, if you knew that your mother did not carry you for 9 months, you might have a mothering energy, but if you knew that your mother did not carry you for 9 months, the first thing that you might go to when you get mad, the way that this programming in the world is, the way that the programming in the world is, you might be like, you know what, ain't no God, okay? And then you do something crazy because literally you have more facts about your physical life telling you that there is no God than you do that do. You know what I'm saying? Like we know that, yeah, everyone was put here for a reason, but now if you were in their shoes, okay, that reason is another human being put you here for a reason. And it's just, it's very, I mean, I feel like this is very, very dark. I might have to do a little bit more research and communing with spirit on this. That is crazy. Spirit, how do you feel? The Invoke card shows up. Hold on. I think Spirit is going to do everything that Spirit can to stop this. Okay, the Invoke card shows up, which means that the ancestors of these children are actually rising up. The Steps card is here as well because there will be some type of mother and father connection here. So these ancestors did not really design for these souls to be born through robots. Okay, the Vision card shows up here, which means that the ancestors are wanting these particular children to have families, to have homes, and to have connections that happen between a child and its mother. You know what I'm saying? A child and its mother. That is very, very deep. What else? Okay, they'll ruin the whole world before they let this be successful. And I'm talking about our ancestors. Okay, I think that we might even find that a portion of the world, this could be wherever this whole creation is taking place in. I feel like we might find that they might go through some type of catastrophic changes that may even stop the creation of this particular. This is a crime, bitch. Okay, the Camille energy shows up here. This now becomes a energy of trafficking. Okay, it becomes the energy of child slavery. Okay, I mean, think about it. If a child is created this way in a robot, who's to say that somebody can't open up the door, okay, take the child out of the robot and then put the child into slavery? There are no links here. Are we gonna let this happen? America is in on it. This is a lot. We'll do a part 2 to this. I'm gonna do a little bit more research on this, and let me know what you think in the comment section. Let's go ahead and drop the evil eye in the comment section, okay? And send all of these intentions back. I don't like it.